This video was not made for kids, it's for older fans and adults, so fuck off and enjoy the video.
Cranky wakes up. It was a rather busy day at Brendan Docks. Engines and trucks rolled to and fro the quay. Ships arrived with various goods from places far away. And the cranes were busy at work, lifting and loading. Cranky the crane had worked at the docks for a very long time. But his parts are old, and sometimes they would make creaking noises.
Bust my buffers! What was that awful noise?
What awful noise is it, Thomas?
I don't know what it is, Cranky, but I did hear some creaking noises. Do you know what they are?
All I hear are engines like you moving about the docks with passengers and goods to deliver. That is every single thing I hear.
I thought I heard something that was coming from one of the pieces of machinery that's working here. Do you think it could possibly be from you, Cranky?
What? No, why would it be me? I'm perfectly fine.
There's that noise again. It is coming from you, Cranky. Your parts are wearing off, and you really need to be oiled and greased at this rate.
Aye, Thomas is right, Cranky. When was the last time you were oiled and greased, eh?
Oh my goodness. I don't know, Salty. I've been busy lifting, loading, and all kinds of other things that I've completely forgot when was the last time I got oiled.
I remember, Chooks.
You do, Carly? When was the last time Cranky got oiled?
He hasn't been oiled for 3 years.
3 years? After being stuck in one place with nowhere to go and not being oiled for this long? Are you serious?
I don't know how you feel, shipmate, but your creaking noises must have affected the crewmates' ears.
Let me just get back to work, Salty. I don't want to hear any more of your nonsense.
Oh my, Cranky. Your creaking noises are getting worse. You should take a break and let me and Big Mickey handle the work.
Carly is right, Cranky. You do need a break from working and need to have yourself oiled and greased. Carly and I always get the treatment every couple of months.
All right. Can you just not go on about my parts again? Please, I've just had enough of that.
Oh dear. I hope Cranky does get oiled and greased soon.
To tell you the truth, Thomas, we tried convincing Cranky to have his oil changed, but he wouldn't listen to us.
You'd be right, Porter. It would be much quieter if Cranky here wasn't creaking a single bit.
There must be something we can do to get Cranky to listen to us.
When Thomas returned to Knapford from his delivery at the docks, he told the other engines all about Cranky.
What's this we hear about Cranky making more noises?
Apparently he hasn't had a single oil change in 3 years and he won't stop working.
3 years? Oh, the indignity.
An important engine like me always has to have their oil changed on a regular basis.
How can we get Cranky to listen to us so he can have his oil changed for once?
We've got to think of something, Emily. Ah, Thomas, I've just received word that there's another delivery that needs to go down to Brendan straight away. What sort of delivery is it, sir? Just some trucks loaded with oil drums. All the cranes that work there must have their oil changed today. That's good, sir. That way we won't have to hear any more of Cranky's creaks.
As Thomas was making his way to the docks with the oil drums, he wouldn't stop thinking about how grumpy Cranky was when he didn't want to have his oil changed.
Cranky may be a toy crane at the docks, but he must understand that all cranes and engines need to have their oil changed.
When Thomas pulled into Wellsworth, he bumped into Edward with his local van.
Hello, Thomas. Are those oil drums for the cranes down at the docks?
They sure are, Edward. Unfortunately, Cranky hasn't had an oil change in 3 years.
3 years? Wow. That's a really long time for a vehicle to have their oil changed. I heard from Salty that if someone doesn't get their oil changed in more than 3 years, then it's off to the scrapyards for them.
The scrapyards? There's absolutely no way the Fat Controller would scrap Cranky for not having his oil changed.
Quite so, Thomas. But it is for the best.
On his way to the docks, Thomas had to pass the scrapyard where Reg resides. But as he did so, he spotted something that caught his attention.
Hello, Reg. What's that old oil tanker doing here?
This old oil tanker? Well, it's my personal one whenever I get my oil changed. It may look old, but it's still useful for me.
Just then, an idea flew into Thomas's funnel.
Once I drop off the oil drums for the cranes, I can come back to the scrapyards and ask Reg if I can borrow his oil tanker to help Cranky. So that way he won't have to be scrapped.
What did you say, Thomas?
I'm just going to deliver these oil drums to the docks, Reg. I won't be long.
By the time Thomas arrived at the docks with the oil drums, the cranes were very pleased with the delivery. But Cranky didn't seem to care.
Oh, well, that's just great. You brought more oil just to make a mess here? Who's gonna clean it up?
Actually, this oil is for all the cranes that need to have their oil changed, including you, Cranky.
Me? Why me?
Because everyone has to have their oil changed, Cranky.
Every time there's an oil delivery for us, Cranky just won't listen to the dock workers when he's told to have his oil changed.
I'm always having my oil changed.
Count me here, matey.
Salty, is it true that engines and cranes get scrapped if they don't get their oil changed in more than 3 years?
You be right, matey. Once you start to creak and grind after that long of not having your oil changed, then you'd be done for. Mark my words.
Oh dear. I do hope Cranky gets his oil changed soon.
Now can I please get back to work?
Not after you get your oil changed, Cranky.
When Thomas returned to the scrapyard, he saw that Reg's oil tanker was still sitting in the siding.
There's the oil tanker Reg has.
Hello again, Thomas.
Hello again, Reg. I hope you don't mind me asking this, but can I borrow your oil tanker you have there? I needed to get Cranky's attention.
Well, of course you can, mate. Just remember to fill it up at the old depot and then bring it back once you're done.
Once Thomas collected Reg's oil tanker, instead of going back to the docks, he went to Knapford instead to talk to the Fat Controller.
Thanks for delivering those oil drums, Thomas. But may I ask why you have this old tanker?
It's not just any old tanker, it's Reg's personal oil tanker. He's letting me borrow it so I can get Cranky's attention, so that he can have his oil changed after 3 years.
Is that right? Well, I better head down to the docks myself to give Cranky a good talking to.
Hello again, Thomas. Why do you have that old oil tanker with you?
It's all part of our plan, Percy. We're going to give Cranky the oil change that he's been very long overdue for.
That's good. Hopefully we won't have to hear Cranky creaking noises anymore.
Back at Brendam Docks, Carly and Big Mickey had their oil changed, but Cranky was still refusing, and it wasn't long until other engines arrived with their deliveries.
Come on, Cranky. Why aren't you moving? I've got to drop off all these fish and then make another delivery.
I got some goods that need to be shipped to the mainland by today.
Simmer down, you two. Let's just, hear another one of my tales of the 7 seas.
There's no time for your stories, Salty. We still have to get Cranky to unload our trucks.
Why not get Carly and Big Mickey to unload them for you?
We would, but we have to wait until Cranky gets his oil changed. And he just won't listen.
Oh, for the love of... For the last time, I told you I am not getting my oil changed.
Oh, yes you are!
Huh? What's all this?
Cranky, you have caused confusion and delay here at Brendam.
What do you mean, sir?
I've been hearing from the other engines that you haven't had your oil changed in 3 years. Everyone on Sodor has to have their oil changed regularly. And if you don't get that treatment, then it's off to the scrapyards for you.
No. Please don't send me to the scrapyard, sir. I promise I'll have my oil changed like everyone else, and I won't make any more creaking noises. Just please, I have my whole life ahead of me, man. Like, I've been here for years. You can't just send me to the scrapyards like that.
Then you better listen to my orders and make sure you get yourself oiled and greased before you go back to work.
Cranky had no choice but to listen to the Fat Controller's orders. Once Cranky was oiled and greased, he went back to work, lifting and loading. This time, he didn't make any more creaking noises, much to the relief of the engines, dock workers, cranes, and of course, the Fat Controller.
Thanks for unloading my trucks, Cranky.
And thanks for unloading mine.
You're welcome, I guess?
Oh, cranky by name, cranky by nature, as I always say.
You know, Salty, you did say that under all that gruff beats a heart of gold.
I sure did, Porter.
You know, after I got my oil changed, I noticed I don't have any creaking. How weird is that? Especially when I rotate, like, it's like I'm as good as new almost.
You see, Cranky? Your oil change isn't so bad after all.
I suppose so, Thomas. Okay, as much as it's gonna hurt for me to say this, I do want to say thank you, I guess.
Thomas beamed at Cranky, and now everyone can get back to work at Brendam Docks.
Are you forgetting something, Thomas?
Huh? Oh no! I forgot to give Reg back his oil tanker. I'm a silly engine.
Don't worry, Thomas. I can go with you, and we can give Reg his oil tanker after we refill it at the oil depot.
Thanks, Percy. I'm so glad that I have a best friend like you to accompany me.
What was this all about then?
Never mind, Cranky. Thomas and Percy are always getting into these kinds of scraps.
I suppose you're right, Big Mickey. Oh my goodness, I hate laughing.